Hello everybody, January 17th, 2022. Public video tonight on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at what happened since the last video on Friday. So at that time, I believe we were right about here, somewhere in this region back here, yeah. So we were looking at a potential rejection in this second wave right here. So I said at the time, it looked like we had a little micro 5 waves down here, and this was looking very much like an ABC. So downside, even though we nominally broke that 44K region I was looking at as being important to break, this clearly looked like a corrective pattern here, followed this 5-wave move. So downside was going to be the best expectation that we could have from there, and we've seen that has played out now. So the question is whether or not this continues impulsively or not. Even if it doesn't, it doesn't rule out further downside from here, of course. But because this was, or it certainly looked like a 5-wave impulse here, the expectation is that the rest of this will also follow the rules of a 5-wave impulse. And so the expectation then for that is that 3 should reach a minimum of 1.618, a minimum of the 1.382, which is 40.2K, but more likely the 1.618 at 39.6. So we're waiting for that to play out at this point. And basically we're just kind of, we just have to wait and see if that continues to play out. But that is, my expectation is that we're going down further. And eventually, after 4 and 5 play out, we should get down here somewhere in the 38 to 39 region once again. So that's the primary expectation for this, right? And I said, once we break this low, the low of wave 1, once we break that, we should see a pretty quick acceleration down here. And obviously, it broke it, and then we saw a little bounce up, although it was pretty much no volume. I mean, that little bounce is nothing to write home about at all, and basically we can just chalk it up to the oversold indicators needing to reset. So at this point in time, we could try to track the micro within this third wave, but it's not super clear, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm thinking this might be the first wave actually, which means we'll get second wave up. And if that's the case, it extended a little bit beyond what we would have normally expected. Normally we'd see first wave to about here. So that being said, we may yet have a little bit further on the upside, for an ABC pattern to play out before we go down further and accelerate downwards like that. But we could just dump from here too. So let's go down to the 5-minute just out of curiosity and see what might be happening here. On this chart, let's see. Yeah, I don't think we can really call that an ABC up, so again, we might have a little further to go, assuming we've bottomed temporarily at about that 41.9 region. I'm going to say if this does push higher, our micro resistance is anywhere up to 43.1. Basically here, 42.5 to 43.1, if it wants to go higher, is potential micro resistance for the next move down, or before the next move down rather. So I'm going to go back to the 1 hour. Okay. And this does not have to play out. It could just dump from here, of course. But if this wanted to do an ABC up to about 42.8, I could certainly see that playing out before before we dump down to hit those next targets down. And because this first wave extended, it may in fact extend this third wave, this fourth wave, and the fifth wave as well. Might extend downwards just a little bit further so that we're getting closer to that 38K region there instead. But I'll let this continue to play out and kind of track it along the way and see if we can get an even better idea of where exactly each one of those things is going to go. But so yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. The alternative to this impulse down would be if this wanted to do an ABC down instead, like so, A, B, and C, and just do more chop, right? So this was WXY up. We could see ABC or WXY down, and then, you know, ABC up. We could just continue getting chop sideways, which we've been over before and we've seen multiple times before from Bitcoin as well. It's not fun to trade that or to try to track it, but it is possible. If that was going to be the case, we would expect anywhere in here to hold, right here. Right, so that's kind of the region, anywhere down to 40.5. So basically, instead of, if we don't see an acceleration downwards to this area, and instead we see simply a move in here and then a pump up, then that's going to be what's happening. We're doing ABCs instead, and the next move will also be an ABC. But knowing that and having a more clear indication that that's all we're doing, we can then look for the next A and B and grab a scalp long anyway for the C wave up. So there can be some trading opportunities in that, but I certainly do not suggest longing in this area because my primary expectation is still to make a move down here sub 40K in the relatively near future. And as we are speaking, this is breaking down below where I had the fib drawn already. So basically wherever this goes to, if it does in fact find a bottom before breaking the low there, we're just going to have to keep adjusting this fib down basically for that B wave resistance. And so now, see that even just while I was talking, resistance has come down now to a top of 43 at the most. But yeah, so anyway, we'll have to continue to see where that goes down and keep adjusting that fib, but it is certainly possible that this just goes down and breaks. If it breaks this, then this fib is out completely anyway, and we're just heading to those lower levels more directly. All right, anything else? Anything else? I think that pretty much sums it up. Okay, let's just take a quick look at the daily. So once again, in this larger scheme of things, W, X, and Y, we have not hit even the minimum requirement, which is about 38.3 in that WXY. So I do, again, there's another indication that we are probably going lower at a minimum into this green box here to finish off Y. And that green box can go down as low as 28.2. And that is my preference actually, to go all the way that low, because I would love to break these lows and give the bulls another chance to make a move up that is a lot more useful rather than this crappy ABC that we got. So yeah, but once again, we're just waiting for confirmation of a bottom. Until we have that confirmation, it is not a good idea, in my opinion, to grab longs, because this can just keep dumping, and like I just showed, it can go all the way down to 28.2 and still be completely valid within the bull structure of this market. We can hit 28.2 and still expect 100K or greater later on in the bull market. So just keep that in mind if you're heavily exposed. You know, I've already dumped pretty much all my crypto holdings, and I'm just waiting in cash, and that, to me, that was the best case scenario. That was the best decision that I can make, and that has proven to be quite a good decision at this point. So now I'm just waiting for that confirmation of a bottom before jumping back in. And that confirmation will come when we see a 5-wave move up off of some sort of low, which could be this right here. If we get down here to 38.1, it's possible that's going to be the bottom. But we just have to watch. If we get this and C equals A and we don't go any higher, then we're going to go lower and look at that 28K bottom instead. But instead, if we get this, then we're in good shape. 5-wave move off the low is the confirmation that we need. And that will give us permission then to buy the next pullback, which could be, substantial pullback. Retrace of 50% of the move is really not unheard of. So, whenever that pullback happens, once we get this confirmation, we buy the pullback, we put the stop underneath the low, and that is the best, highest probability trade that you can make in any asset class, but especially right now as we are waiting for a bottom with no indication of a bottom quite yet. All right, hopefully that made sense to everybody. If it didn't, please jump into the Trade Like a Whale Discord, ask me questions. I'm happy to answer them and help you all not get wrecked. All right, good night, everybody.